You're watching Today. Thanks for your company. When thinking of where to invest your money, gold may not be the first thing that comes to mind, but now you could be in for the perfect time to test the waters as gold prices increased by more than 600% this week.
For more, let's bring in Today Money expert Effie Zahos. Effie, good morning. You like gold?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Everything's nice and sparkly here today, guys. So look, I'm actually smack bang in the heart of Sydney, and this is at ABC's Bullion Global flagship. Now, I asked how much money is sitting in here. For security reasons, they won't tell me, but there is millions, over 4 million just sitting in this cabinet here. But I've got a great surprise for you too. I want you to see this surprise. Voila! A Today Show gold bullion bar.
All right. Well, just put that in an Uber, send it over to us, and we'll.
They melted down a gold logo.
One of yours, Carl, I think. This is yours, actually.
What's it worth?
Now, okay, Jordan, tell us, what's this worth?
Effie, this is just over $1.2 million. So it's
Oh, my
400
goodness.
ounces of gold. So, yeah, about the same as an average house.
That's a house, yeah. A little bit shy of Sydney, but I could buy everywhere else in
Probably
Australia.
about the same
Exactly
size
right.
as a house in Sydney as well, Effie.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Brookie. Now, look, you did mention that the price of shares, it's got a lot of attraction at the moment from investors as well, because over the last couple of years, it has shot up. Over the past 20-odd years, 600%. Talk to me about what's driving this.
Yeah, there are several factors. So investors and savers tend to gravitate towards gold when they really want safety. So, you know, gold's had those exceptional long-term returns, inflation protection. It's also a great diversifier. It tends to do really well when the share market and the like is a bit uncertain.
Yeah.
And all of those factors have contributed to gold rising as much as it has, from less than $500 to more than $3,000 an ounce over the last 20 years.
And look, like everything, this is not a bank account. There's volatility. And when you look at all other asset classes, you know, if you've got shares and you reinvest that, that's probably nudged it a little bit. But I think a lot of people think, I don't have $1 million to invest in a gold bar. Yeah. But guess what, Brookie? Look what I've got in my pocket. That's coming with me.
Is that a little nugget?
So it is a little nugget. So this is about?
So that's a 1 ounce ABC Bullion gold cast bar. They're worth just over $3,000 at today's price.
Over $3,000 this is worth. It's not bad. That's going straight back in my pocket, right there. Okay, continuing on. Look, I guess, for most of us, we probably may never invest in gold, but, you know, diversification is key. And if you want to, there are other ways you can jump in. Obviously, you can go directly and choose a mining stock or maybe an exchange-traded fund. You also have a product where people can drip feed some money as well in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we offer a product called the ABC Bullion Gold Saver. You can use it from as little as $50 a month. So not a bank account, as you pointed out, but in essence, every time a client, a saver, gives us that $50 or $100, whatever amount you choose, we convert that into gold on the day that we're receiving that money, and then your holdings and the value of your asset is obviously linked to the price of gold.
There are fees, watch those. I think I said the 2%, a little bit high for my liking. I'd like you to kind of work on that. But look, there are fees on everything, and that's what you've got to watch with what you invest in.
Yeah.
Am I invited back here again?
You absolutely invited back here, Effie, any time.
They're going to make you empty your pockets, though, before you leave, Effie. Just...
Oh, Brooke, come on, you forgot about that.
I'd like to see what happens to you if you just left now with the gold.
How much do you reckon?
Let's try it.
Go
On
on.
your person and
Here we
more.
go.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Right. That guy is not happy.
That was the last time we ever saw Effie Zahos.
In the clean.
Getting me so...
Hey, you're coming back, all right? There we go. That guy
dear.
ain't amused. Well, Aussies have suffered the biggest hit to real incomes in the developed world as cost of living pressures eat up household budgets. Economics editor at the Australian Financial Review, John Keogh, joins us now. Johnny, good morning to you on this Friday. You like a bit of Bollywood on a Friday, don't you? Champion? Or eyebrow raise? What do these international figures tell us? It's pretty gloomy.
Yes, good morning, Carl. Look, I wish I had better news to deliver you on a Friday as well. But look, these new figures show real household disposable incomes for Australians fell 5% in the last financial year, down to 2019 levels. And if you compare that to some of the other countries in the OECD where they're going down by less or up, you can see there on the screen. Now, there's three reasons for this. Obviously, inflation eating into people's pay packets, reducing our purchasing power. Second, those interest rate rises. We have a lot of variable rate mortgages here in Australia, so the central bank moves flow through very quickly to households, unlike overseas where they have more fixed rate mortgages. And three, income tax bracket creep. As inflation and wages go up, we're paying more tax as well. Well, that's all hitting household incomes.
Is there any relief at all for households in sight?
Yeah, look, the government says it's rolling out cost of living relief for things like rental assistance, household energy bills, childcare, prescription medicines, Carl. I guess the one good glimmer of hope is that there's not going to be another interest rate rise this year after this week. I don't think the Reserve Bank will be raising rates next month. And look, coming to July next year, income tax cuts are due to start flowing through too. Now, I know there'd been a bit of debate about whether those income tax cuts would proceed, but I think given the cost of living pressures, they will go ahead now.
Look, there's all sorts of pressure on a bunch of families and also businesses. Yesterday, I had several conversations with friends who own businesses, and those rates are killing them now.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are really starting to feel the pinch, that's for sure, after those 13 interest rate rises, inflation as well, Carl. And so I think the Reserve Bank's going to be pretty cautious from here about raising rates further. But obviously, it is really going to be a tricky Christmas for a lot of people.
Let's see what the government does with that exercise. Good on Johnny, thank you. Richard, the RBA has introduced their 13th rate hike. I know it's not all your fault, but I think Australians are starting to feel you're letting them down badly. You're failing them on cost of living pressure.
Well, cost of living has obviously been the focus of what the government has been about since we've come to power, because we understand the pressure that this is placing on Australian household budgets, on businesses. That's why last week, for example, we saw the tripling of the bulk billing incentive come into force. That's the biggest investment in bulk billing in Medicare's history. That's about making it cheaper to go and see a doctor, but be it cheaper medicines, more affordable childcare, fee-free TAFE, putting downward pressure
Richard,
on
I get it,
energy bills.
I feel like
that's what we've been doing.
I know, but every time you're asked about this, anyone in your government, the same lines come out. I feel like you don't get it, that you don't get the pressure that Australian households are under right now.
Well, of course we understand the pressure. I mean, this is having an enormous impact, and it's why we've taken those measures. It's also why we wanted to make sure that in terms of managing the budget, we're not contributing to the inflationary environment, which is why we've done something, Carl, the Liberals never did, and that's deliver a budget surplus. But to be clear, this is a situation which is existing around the world. It began under the former government. We know that the biggest increase in inflation occurred when the Liberals were in power, which is simply to say that, you know, Australia's not immune from this. The Liberals weren't immune from it. What the government needs to do, and what we've been focused on, is putting in place measures which help and making sure that the fiscal management of the country, the budget management, isn't contributing to it.
Okay,
That's
Pete,
what we're doing.
the fuel excise, would you cut that again?
Well, Carl, just a couple of points on cost of living. I think it's unbelievable that the government can now tell you that their highest priority has been cost of living, when for the last 18 months the Prime Minister's been solely focused and completely absorbed by the Voice. And they've made decisions in two budgets now which have made it harder for families, driven up inflation. And as we see in Australia now, we've got the worst real wage growth in the country. In fact, people are going backwards under this government. The Prime Minister just doesn't get it because he's never here. In relation to fuel excise, we did halve the rate of fuel excise, but only for a temporary period of time, for 6 months. It came at a cost of $3 billion. So it's very expensive to do it, but it does provide a lot of instant relief to people who at the moment are paying, you know, the cash rate, the Reserve Bank cash rate is 4.35. It was 0.35 when Labor came into power.
If we're not getting the infrastructure,
they keep spending money,
if we're not getting the
which is driving
infrastructure
up
benefits,
interest
right?
rates.
If we're not getting the infrastructure benefits of that, is that a yes or no from Richard to you, Richard, on cutting the fuel excise? Are you going to do that or not?
We don't have plans to do that.
Okay.
And as Peter just said, you know, it is very expensive. You know, the former government did it briefly. We are focused on measures which are long-standing and make a difference.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?